What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Flash Speaks back for another video. All right, first of all, shout out to Showtime Sports on Point, who, if it was not for him, I would not even know about this list here. It's basically ESPN that released a list of the top 25, ranking the top 25 WNBA players going into the preseason or as they leave the preseason, one or the other. We're going to go through this here. I kind of saw what he did, and I'm going to give my take on it here. All right, so number one is A'ja Wilson. All right, so if they didn't have A'ja Wilson number one, this whole list would have absolutely no validity whatsoever. So, of course, she's number one. 26 points, 11 rebounds, 2.6 blocks per game. And beyond that, I mean, anyone who watches basketball and they have any idea what they're looking at, honestly, they would say it's not even close to this woman dominates the sport right now. And then there's a second, but the second is not really close to me. The second here, they have Napheesa Collier. For me, I don't have a problem with Napheesa Collier being number two here based on the performance last year. But really, for me, it's a toss-up between her and Breanna Stewart. And honestly, I think you can make an argument for Jonquel Jones, who was the Finals MVP, too. I think the Finals MVP should get more love than they're getting here. Now, if I can think about any guards or anything like that, I think you can make an argument for Alyssa Thomas as well. But I don't have a problem with Napheesa Collier being a number two, being that she was Defensive Player of the Year last year. And I mean, All right, at number three, they got Breanna Stewart, who was MVP last season. Numbers were pretty much comparable to Napheesa Collier's. Actually, a little bit better. She's a little bit under. But they're very close, very comparable. I don't know if you put you make me have to choose between Breanna Stewart and Napheesa Collier. I think Stewart is a little better, to be honest with you. Overall. But based on last year, I don't really have a problem with that. All right, now this is where the peanut gallery starts to come in here. And listen, there's nothing against Caitlin Clark, but this is really bullshit to me that she would be considered four when there are a number of players in the league that are better than her. Forget all the stuff about, the narratives and what they're expecting, MVPs and championships and what the Fever is supposed to do and how many people come to see her. Forget all of that, man. If we're going to talk ball, we're going to talk ball. All right, I get it. She averages 19 points per game. All right, but it's not like it's on great shooting. The shooting is around 41% from the floor. There are other guards that are shooting close to 45%, like a Kahleah Copper, and so on. And these players will be way under. Like, if you're talking about just a straight scorer who's going to get buckets, there are a number of guards that are better bucket getters. Okay, I can mention Jewel Lloyd. I can mention Kahleah Copper. I can mention Arike Gumbawale, and so on. So, all right, it's not about the points. So, if you want to talk about assists per game, the assists per game is good. You led the league in assists here, okay? But assists, a lot of people don't recognize here. There's two things I'm going to say about assists. Assists for point guards since the beginning of time has always been measured on assist to turnover, right? And so while you're getting the most assists, 8.4, you're also leading the league in 5 turnovers. So it's really, the ratio is not a great ratio. That means it's, after I, subtract the damn turnovers, then it's pretty much 3 assists, that you're getting from this player. And then 5.7 rebounds, that's pretty good, But to say this is the 4th best player in the WNBA, especially after a year, I think it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous when you're talking about a player that needs to work on a floater, a player that needs to work on a mid-range game in general, a player that has no post game even though she's tall for a guard, a player that still has to learn how to work through contact, a player that still has to work on finishing. I mean, let's let her grow. Now, will she one day be the best player in the league? I guess that's conceivable, right? But to act like she's that right now and then to completely ignore the defensive side of the ball, where she needs the most work, is nasty work. Nasty work, right? When you look at the other 3 players, you're talking about 3 top defensive players. When you talk about Breonna Stewart, great defensive player. When you talk about Nafisa Collier, defensive player of the year. When you're talking about Asia Wilson, multiple-time defensive player of the year. So out of the first 4 players, you have 3 great defensive players, but this one is allowed to be in the top 4 without having any type of defense to speak of. Matter of fact, it's a known weakness, okay? When you did defensive rankings last year, out of 144 players in the W, for the most part, most of the year, she was around 125th worst. And then I think towards the end of the year, she may have risen up to 112th. But that's still a putrid situation for someone that you're going to put at number 4. Like, if it was going to be a situation where we're judging her as a young player, then I'm all for it. I would not even be as critical as I am. But when you start putting her up here with these players, now I have to look with a microscope, right? I have to look with a magnifying glass, and I see a lot of holes, and this is bullshit. It just is. I mean, it's all media crap and them projecting what they want to happen, which is they want her, to win all these awards and stuff like that. And then 5th, you got Alyssa Thomas after her. Alyssa Thomas, the player that demonstrated, okay, that she was better than Caitlin Clark last year in the finals. In the playoffs. Alyssa Thomas is the primary ball handler for her team. Caitlin Clark, the primary ball handler for hers. Caitlin Clark had 2 All-Stars on her team alongside her. Alyssa Thomas, I don't even know if she had an All-Star with her. Maybe DeWanna Bonner made it. I don't remember. But you're talking about Alyssa Thomas led a team, okay, with 1 other All-Star at best. Caitlin Clark leads the team with 2 other All-Stars on the team, and they get swept. And I get it. Alyssa Thomas is a vet. Caitlin Clark is not, right? But whatever. That's what happened. Caitlin Clark has to earn the right to be considered better than Alyssa Thomas. It's ridiculous, right? And you're talking about someone who averages 10 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists almost 8 assists per game, who was leading the league in assists pretty much all year, until Christy Size decided to just run that offense, that Steve Nash offense, with Caitlin Clark, which allowed her to, especially against really, really bad teams, to just run the assists up. And then especially against teams like Dallas and so on, where you're going for 19 and 20 assists, but they don't call that stat padding. It's amazing. But her above Alyssa Thomas is fucking ridiculous. All right, and then now Jonquel Jones. I have a problem with Jonquel Jones being 6, but then again, there's another player that's better than Caitlin Clark when you look at offense and defense. Sabrina Ionescu. 18, 6, and 4. People will say, well, Caitlin Clark averages 1 more point than her. Yeah, Sabrina Ionescu is a better player than Caitlin Clark right now at this time. I would like to see them actually both go ahead and do that 3-point contest, see what will happen with that. But Ionescu is 7, I guess. Then again, I don't know. I don't even know if Ionescu is the 7th best player in the league. Depending on who comes last. I don't know that Ionescu is better than, Enrique. I don't know that Ionescu is better than Jewel Lloyd. I know Ionescu is not better than Kalia Copper. But, she should be in the top 25. But 7, I don't think so, man. Then Nneka Ogwumike, right? Now you got Nneka Ogwumike here at 8. I guess that's fine. I don't really have much of a problem with that. She's, a player that's been, perennial all-star for most of her career. Jackie Young, okay? I know, look at Jackie Young's numbers here. 15, 3, and 4. Okay, I get it. The numbers dipped a little bit. She used to average more than that. But for me, to me, she's a better player than Caitlin Clark again. And a better player than Sabrina Ionescu. But sometimes, depending on the team you're on and the situation you're in and what you're asked to do, you're not going to necessarily have the numbers. But that's why you got to look at the game. Jackie Young can make the 3-pointer. Jackie Young can get to the rim. Jackie Young can score through contact. Jackie Young has a mid-range game, right? Jackie Young can guard the best player to guard the best wing player on the opposite team. These are things that, Ionescu cannot do. These are things that Caitlin Clark cannot do. And the fact that they're not taking that into consideration is bullshit. It just flat out is. All right, Kelsey Plum at 10. Listen, Kelsey Plum, one of my favorite players. Kelsey Plum should be in the top 25, yes. But 10, I think, is a little too high for Kelsey Plum. And I really do think so. You talking about another player, though she is a dog and she tries on defense. She definitely puts effort. She is a liability. She was the liability of the Aces. This is why they traded her. I mean, these are just facts. She's a player I would take, yes. A superstar in the game, yes. But, I mean, come on, man. And you got Kahleah Copper coming after her. Just look at the numbers. 17 and 8, 21 points per game. Right? How do you justify that? More points, more rebounds. How's Kahleah Copper 11th when Kahleah Copper actually does this, close to 50% shooting from the floor? What is this? And she's a better defensive player, though sometimes she be acting soft. Right? In her record, she has a Finals MVP to her name as well. And I know in the NBA, the Finals MVP is always an argument for the best player in the league. How she's at 11 is fine, but how is Sabrina Ionescu? How do you justify Sabrina Ionescu being better than her or Kelsey Plum being better than her? To me, this is just ridiculous. Are you going off of numbers? Are you going off of other stuff? What are you going off of? Right now, so if one wants to argue Caitlin Clark is better than Jackie Young because of numbers, okay, then how do you argue that Kelsey Plum is better than Kahleah Copper when her numbers aren't as good, right? And then Kahleah Copper's numbers are better than Clark's, at least scoring, okay? Clark plays a point guard, so she'll have better assists, right? That's about it. More efficiency, everything. Satu Sabali at 12. I don't know. I mean, I guess it depends who's after her and who's not. I think this is a little bit high. I don't know her to be a real good defender, but I got to look into her a little bit more. I have to think about that one, but I don't think so. Kelsey Mitchell. Yeah, I think Kelsey Mitchell's better than Satu. So I would have to say I disagree with Satu at 12. Kelsey Mitchell at 13, I don't know. I guess I have to see who's after her, but she should be top 25. I think last year they had at exactly 25, and somehow she jumped up to 13, I guess because of the fever all the rage right now. Not Arike Gumbawale. Come on, this is bullshit. All right, we know Arike. Come on, it's better than some damn Kelsey Mitchell. We know Arike, and I don't care about people want to say the way she plays with an assist. No, she's a better player than her. She's a better player than Satu. I don't think she's better than Kahleah. She's better than Kelsey Plum. She's not better than Jackie Young, I don't think. She's better. It's like, come on, man. Better than the Sabrina, definitely better than Caitlin. I think Arike showed that even to you casuals, when you watch the damn All-Star game, right? Even though you want to give Caitlin all this damn credit for passing the ball to All-Stars who can score on their damn own anyway, right? You have to admit that Arike was the reason they won that game. Arike going off. Arike doesn't go off. They don't win that game. All right, Kayla McBride. What is this, 5 points per game? I know she averaged more than that. What the hell is that? Yeah, 17.8 in the finals. I think her numbers are wrong here. I'll have to look that up. But Kayla McBride, number 15, I don't have a problem with it. This is a player that I like on both ends of the floor. She's also a great three-point shooter. Chelsea Gray is 16. Chelsea Gray should be the first point guard listed here. I'm guessing they gave her these numbers. They put her here because of last year where she was injured a lot. I guess that's what that's about. But then how do you put Satu up there over people who have more numbers than her, over more voice than her, right? So how are they judging is the question. I don't get it. Brittany Griner, 17. I guess 17 is fine. Brittany Griner is one of the top 25 players in the league. Averaged 17, almost 18 points last year. 6.6 rebounds only. That's surprising. She should have more rebounds. I guess she's a little slow. Skylar Diggins at 18. That's my girl. I have no problem with Skylar being on this list at 18. I guess that's fair. Jewel Lloyd at 19. I think this is very, very disrespectful to the Gold Mamba. Jewel Lloyd gave you 19 points. I know it was a step back, but you're talking about a player who the prior year led the whole league in scoring. Jewel Lloyd should absolutely be above Sabrina Ionescu, Caitlin Clark, Satu freaking Sabali, and a number of guards. I don't know, just maybe the fact that she lit Caitlin Clark up, I don't know how many times last year, but one eye in one instance, right? Whatever. This is ridiculous. Ryan Howard, one of my favorite players, a player that should be one of the best players in the league. I don't know. My man Showtime, he said he believed Alicia Gray is better than Ryan Howard. I do not agree with that. It's my brother. We agree on a lot of things. I think that's no. I don't agree with that. And no, I like Alicia Gray a lot. But better than Ryan Howard, no. Unless you're going off of some type of intangibles or something like that, I can see. But if you're talking skills, I don't see that at all. I think Ryan Howard is the best player on Atlanta. And for Atlanta to get what they need to get is going to be depend on Ryan Howard, not Alicia Gray. All right, 21, Aaliyah Boston. I don't have a problem with it. Aaliyah Boston, one of the best centers in the league, in my opinion. She should be somewhere on the list, and I think 21 is about fair. De'Erica Hamby. All right, I will put De'Erica Hamby over Aaliyah Boston, actually. I don't know to what degree, but I think so at this point in their career. That's 17-9 to 14-8. I mean, are you going off of numbers or are you going off of something else? I don't know. Then you have Alicia Gray, one of the best guards in the league, good shooter. I do question her, intangibles. I do, but I like Alicia Gray. She is top 25 in some respect. I don't have a problem with her being at 23. All right, 24 is Izzy Megbagor, if I'm saying that correctly. One of my favorite centers in the league. The ideal center for me. Lob catcher, shot blocker extraordinaire. I think she had 8 blocks in the game. Something ridiculous like that. One of the best players you want to have if you're playing up against an A'ja Wilson or Jonquel Jones and those types of players. You want to have her. I'm interested in seeing what happens with her in the future now that they got the French young lady. I don't know. But her being 24, I think that's fair. I don't have a problem with that. All right, and then number 25 is Angel Reese. Now, contrary to popular opinion, I really don't have a problem with Angel Reese being 25 in that area. Why? Angel Reese is a first-year player, had a stellar rookie campaign where she was an all-star. To be a top 25 player is an honor, okay? And this is the same thing I would say about Caitlin Clark. To be honest with you, if I'm doing the list, I'm putting Caitlin Clark around somewhere between 25 and 19. Like a rookie player like that who has things to work on in her game, who, wasn't exceptional in the playoffs or anything like that, should not be above all these players. Like, she's above players that have titles and stuff like that. It's absurd, right? I would have Angel Reese. Yeah, I don't have a problem with Angel Reese at 25, but Caitlin Clark should be around, 21, 19, something like that, man. If we're going to be reasonable out here, instead of this ridiculous stuff they're into. So that's pretty much my rundown of this list. I think it's BS for the most part. They got the first 3 right, and the rest from there, you got to scramble and jamble it. I don't know. It's all scrambled up, and I don't quite get what the criterion is. I don't know what they're looking at to consider one player better than the other. If I could have an understanding of what measuring sticks they're using to judge these players, then I can have a better time of understanding what they're doing and possibly respecting this list. But here, this is BS. It's primarily because of Caitlin Clark. They just add her. They just throw her up there just because they want to, not because of anything she earned. It's just BS to me. But that's my take on it, man. You guys tell me what you think. Peace out.